Flight Sim Expo will be on June 27th, 2025 in Rhode Island. And here is my wish list for the Expo. Stay tuned. Now I was really excited because I had planned on going to the Expo, but due to some unfortunate situations, I am no longer going. So, as many of you, I will be watching the Expo live on the 27th of June. And it got me thinking about things that I'm excited to potentially see announced at the Expo. And there are a number of sponsors and Diamond members who are taking place in the Expo this year. One of the first comers is PMDG, which is surprising because they are a big asset to the flight sim community. So, of course, they will be at the Expo for the very first time and maybe showcasing the 737 in-flight sim 2024. So that starts my first wish list for the Expo of 2025 is hopefully we'll see some 737 action live in Microsoft Flight Sim and maybe an announcement date as well. Parallel 42 will also be part of the Expo. They've been, I think, part of the last couple of Expos. And one thing I'm really missing from 2020 is flow. So hopefully Parallel 42 has some news they can at least show us or announce that flow will be making its way over to Flight Sim 2024. FlightSim.com last year had the yoke come out. And it's really, really cool. And I was fortunate enough to be able to use one and have access to it. And it just didn't work well with my system. But I'm excited to see what they have up their sleeves for 2025 when it comes to peripherals. And sticking on the realm of peripherals, Honeycomb and it's, I don't know if we want to call it competition per se, but Meridian. So former Nikki, who's a former founder, there's a whole history of that stuff. But Nikki, who used to be part of Honeycomb, started their own company called Meridian. And both Honeycomb and Meridian will both be at the Expo. And I'm excited to see peripherals that are potentially announced. We know that Meridian, who was at the FS weekend, showcased some screenshots and a little tech demo of what the hardware they're working on. And they said that there would be actual hardware at Flight Sim Expo 2025. So we will see, and I'm super excited. If I am going to upgrade to new hardware in the future, it will likely be the Meridian products if it does become a reality and is as high quality. And the price range, of course, is what I'm looking for. Honeycomb didn't really announce anything major. They had a couple things at the FS weekend, but nothing that is changing the world. We know that the Charlie finally launched last year after years of delay, but we're not hearing anything new on their side. So I'm excited to see if we see any sequels to the Alpha and Bravo and how that compares to the Meridian products themselves. Flight Sim Studios, which everyone who's been on this channel knows, have been flying the heck out of the EJET in Flight Sim 2024 once that's kind of been unofficially supported. Well, they did say that they would have a VNav potentially available and maybe available for us to try as beta users at Flight Sim Expo 2025. So that is probably the top of my list next to the 777, next to the 737 from PMDG. And then, of course, we have WinWing, who blew off those socks in FS weekend. I'm excited to see what WinWing might have up their sleeves for the Expo, because the Expo isn't that far away from FS weekend, and they had showed off a yoke, they showed off throttle quadrants, they showed off all the Boeing stuff. So what else do they have up their sleeves that could potentially surprise us at Flight Sim Expo 2025? On Air will also be at the Expo. Now, they did show some UI changes for On Air, which is great because the On Air UI in the past was a little bit clunky, a little bit weird. To see some of those changes a little bit more user-friendly makes me excited to see what On Air might have. Now, I personally haven't used On Air for a little bit. I've been using a Pilot's Life more recently, but it would be kind of cool to see what's going on there. Now, of course, XPlane will be at the Expo as well. They haven't really done anything major at the Expos now that I'm thinking about it, at least in past history. So it'll be interesting to see what XPlane might have up their sleeves at the Expo. They've gone through a couple different betas recently that had a better lighting engine and better weather. So that in the sky, the sim is looking really, really good. On the ground is still where the question marks go with XPlane, and we'll see if they make any adjustments with that. Obviously, they won't really use the Bing photogrammetry that Microsoft uses, so maybe they could do Google's. Who knows? There's always been that rumor speculating going around that. We don't even know if they're even looking towards that or if they're looking at other things such as just lighting, the physics of the plane, etc. Now, they may show off their marketplace, which has been something in development for a while, their internal in-store marketplace, just like Microsoft has with Flight Sim 2020 and 2024. So we'll see what's going on there. Bluebird Simulations is working on a 757, so maybe we'll see something around that. Pricing is supposed to come out next month in a video, so maybe we'll see the launch somewhere around the Expo. FS Reborn has also been a little bit quiet on their side of things, so maybe they'll have something up their sleeves, maybe more planes compatible with Flight Sim 2024. There's all kinds of AI stuff, of course. Moza will be at the Flight Sim Expo as well. We know that Moza recently they released the side stick and they also released a yoke, both of which are about $1,000. We're going to round it up to $1,000. Now, a little bit less for the side stick, but both are force feedback in a way, and both of the softwares have made some great strides, but still lack in some areas. SoFly does some really cool stuff in terms of different like animals on the ground and different effects and stuff like that. Aerosoft, which recently had the CRJ upgraded for Flight Sim 2024, and I don't know if there's anything major out of them. Maybe some new scenery, potentially. Who knows on that part? But mostly, I think I'm excited about what potentially Orbex and PMGG can potentially bring to the table. Does Orbex have some new sceneries to announce? Does PMGG have a video we can see of the 737 available in 2024? What does Parallel 42 have in store for us? And Meridian has been the big question mark for some time. How is Meridian going to compare to Honeycomb? And of course, Init Builds will be there, Thrustmaster will be there, and all the regulars as well. This year's Expo will be interesting because FS Weekend had a very big amount of hardware announcements, and on the software side, it wasn't as big. So we're going to see if maybe things change around at this year's Flight Sim Expo, where will we get the software side of things. Now, I don't know for sure if Microsoft will be at the Expo. They were at Asobo, I should say, was at the Expo last year, and I think it was last year, and I think their year before as well. It'd be crazy for them not to be at the Expo, given that it is all about flight simming. So you would think they'd be huge at the Expo themselves, but we'll see. I'm super excited to see what's announced. Join me here on the channel live when it is live on June 27th, at least for the announcement, the 4-hour product reveals that will be announced. And that starts at, what time was it? It's like 1 p.m. Eastern time or something around there. Yeah, 1 p.m. Eastern time is when it starts. So we'll be here on the channel live covering that information. Thanks for watching this video. Let me know down in the comments what you're most excited about at this year's Flight Sim Expo 2025.